What is up, guys? Welcome back to another LEGO Star Wars review. We are here today with set number 75288, the AT-AT. And I'm delighted to be able to bring it to you. It came back in stock and I had to get it as soon as it came back. It was released on the 1st of August 2020 and sold out in about 2 days, like most of the Star Wars summer wave for 2020. And it was released on the 14th or 15th of August in the USA, but it should have released in the 1st of September, so it was kind of like LEGO saying, here you go, a little early present. It has 1,267 pieces, it is aged 10 plus, and it has 6 minifigs. Here we have Luke Skywalker, General Veers, 2 AT-AT drivers, and 2 ordinary snowtroopers. Just like the snowspeeder I am about to review, or have reviewed, I'm not sure which order they'll go up in, the all-terrain armoured transport made its debut in The Empire Strikes Back on Hoth, and has been used throughout the galaxy since on all different planets. We've seen one on Endor, we've seen one on Tatooine, we've seen one on a few other places. The original AT-AT were done by using stop motion, and the sound was created using a punch press. Their walk was based off elephants, and though the stop motion walk came out a little jerky, this movement was deemed acceptable because of the AT-AT's mechanical nature. This is the 5th full-scale AT-AT made by LEGO, and so far I've been hearing that it's the best, and just based on pictures, it looks the best. It comes with a decent amount of figures, and I've seen a review or two on it. We'll get to it, but there's some nice features in it. Now just a quick look at the back of the box. On most Star Wars 2020 Summer Wave sets, you will see this little box saying, play it in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. And it's on a lot of the sets, I think it's even on Final Duel. Like, it's on a couple of sets that, are a bit... They are not walkers or anything, so that's interesting. And the game has not been released yet, but we will find out exactly what that means whenever it comes up. I think it comes with a code, and I'm not sure where that code is. It's probably in the instruction books. This is only hearsay. I've not read into this myself, but this is just what I've heard. Now, a little look at the back of the box. Here you can see the inside. It comes with 6 seats, but only, as I said, 2 snowtroopers. Thanks, LEGO. It shows that there are spring-loaded shooters. Nice feature there. It shows that the back can open up to house a speeder bike, which is nice. And it also shows a little new technique they brought in, which is the string being able to be retracted. So it looks like Luke Skywalker is actually using his zip line correctly, which is a nice feature, I think, there. We also have a little bit of action, and of course the final part, we have the cockpit opening up, which all nice and lovely. All nice to see on there. It's good that they always add in a little bit more of the description, because the box is just the LEGO set animated, and whereas I do like that, it's always good to just look at the back of the box and see what you're really getting. There is, for example, a Batman set I can think of on the shelves at the moment that I just couldn't understand until I looked at the back of the box and then figured out exactly what it was, just like a lot of other sets. Now, on to the review. Now, we'll start with the general overview that I usually do. We'll show you all the minifigs that it comes with now that they're built. We'll give him a little spin there. And we will show you all the little bits that it comes with. Now, it doesn't actually come with an awful lot extra mini builds and stuff, which is, I prefer that. But, where the mini builds are in play, they are very useful, I suppose. They're very nice to have in there, because this speeder bike goes into the back very nicely, and, you can tuck up the gun here into the AT-AT walker nice and well. But now I suppose we can get on to the minifigs as per usual first, and then we go by build by smaller to larger. So, starting off with Luke Skywalker here, we've got a nice enough minifigure with some nice attachments. I mean, typical attachments. He got his lightsaber, and because he's on Hoth, he got his thermal detonator as well, which is nice to see. I'll give you a little close up on that. I mean, it's a simple enough printed tile. I love it. And we got a spare one because it's a 1x1 tile. It's not massive, So it's one of the pieces that can go missing, so we get a spare weapon, essentially. Starting on the torso and leg print, it is actually just a generalized Rebel Fighter print on this minifigure. As we've seen this before on Wedge Antilles in the 4 Plus Snowspeeder, it's actually the exact same print, I'm fairly sure. I think the helmet is different, and again, we'll just go to the back there for a wee look. I'll put my hand up there to get the sun out of the way, and it's back. Yeah, it's fairly nice. Like, it is good that they've gone to the extra measure and printed the legs in such detail. As you can see there is printing as well on the belt. I'm really happy with this minifigure. It looks very well, and it's a great improvement to what they have done in the past. Also, I will say his visor on his face is printed onto his face instead of molded onto the helmet, which I heard some people didn't like it being molded onto the helmet, but I think I preferred it a little bit, to be honest, because it is part of the helmet, and once you take off the helmet, it should come off as well, you know. But again, you can kind of argue the fact that the strap doesn't come off underneath. I will just take off the helmet now to show you a little bit more. And we can see now that the helmet is off. We can see now that the visor is actually printed a good bit onto the helmet as well, like onto the face, sorry, as well. It's printed a good chunk of it. And there, his visor up with a little bit of a smile, a little bit of a cheeky smile there. Why not? But you can also say that my argument with the visor being printed on is that the chin strap should also be off whenever you are taking off the helmet. But I suppose we can't exactly imitate that in any way, really, without making the helmet look really dodge, you know, because I think they've tried to do things like that in the past, and it's just not looked very well, you know. But yeah, overall, I will say that I'm very, very happy with the upgrade they've given Luke and with the printing they've done, because, I mean, it is just, it's a really nice figure. I'm not sure did they upgrade the helmet, but if they did a good job on that too, because the helmet itself just looks very nice, you know. I'm very happy with it. It's a nice kind of, I won't say bulky, but it's nice and full. So, I suppose that can conclude our review of the little minifigure here for Luke. You can put all those stuff in his hands, and you know you can have him grabbing onto the AT-AT. But we'll get to that for the AT-AT part. And I suppose now we can get on to General Veers. Now on to General Veers. A great upgrade from what they have done in the past. I think they've done it like maybe 2-3 times in the past, but this is just really stunning to see. As you can see on his face there, his headset is actually printed on, and if you can kind of see the expression on his face, it's not that detailed, but it's more detailed than it has been, and it's a nice addition to the minifig. You can see that his goggles are actually printed onto his helmet as well, which I think is fantastic. I think they've done the light kind of shining off it as well very nicely. We'll give you a little bit of the back here. I think the helmet mold may be new, but again, it's very nice. It's very nice. I can't say much about it other than I'm really happy with it. It's quite detailed compared to what has been done in the past, you know. It's a very nice upgrade. There's molded on each sides of the helmet. There's interesting enough features. Now, it is a simple enough torso print. To be honest with you, I think that they imitated one of the older snowtroopers, because that looks familiar. I've seen that print before, but again, it's an updated version of whatever it is. He comes with a little binoculars there, because, you know, he's just looking out. He's not really doing much other than bossing people around. And a little look now at his other face, and his face without the helmet on. As you can see, there's some nice printing involved here, where they added the lines on his forehead. And then we can give you a look at his other face, which is a little bit more happy, because, you know, we've taken over the rebel base. Yay! We've succeeded. But of course, I kind of made it for in the middle of, whenever I'm doing my scene, I am making it for in the middle of this battle, whenever the AT-AT steps on the snowspeeder and Luke is going up in through the thing, and he's not happy then because, you know, he's not exactly won just yet. He was seconds away from winning. so I won't be displaying them like that. But again, a very good update on what they have done in the past, and I'm very happy to see it. Suppose we can shoot on to the AT-AT drivers now. The AT-AT driver is the exact same as the other one from the outside, but we'll get into a bit more detail on that statement in 1 second. First, I'm just going to review this guy for now. And again, it's a great improvement to what they have done. Like, again, everything they've done this year is a little bit more than they've done in the last while. They've printed a lot more, apart from maybe General Grievous or Starfighter, but we won't bring up the war. Yeah, again, a great improvement. I mean, the imprinting there is very nice. You can see even they put lines in there to imitate the, to give the feeling that it's like a cloth underneath, like it's like a fabric underneath the armor, which it is. It's their clothes underneath it, and it's nice to see. Very detailed print there on the legs and torso. It's again, what can I say? It's very nice to see. I think the helmet is a bit bulky, but I like bulky when it comes to Lego because it just feels more sturdy. And again, a lot of decent printing on there, as you can see, like the lines here. There's like things under his eyes there. I mean, it's all very detailed compared to what we've seen in the past. Now, as I was saying earlier, they're both the same from the outside, but hold on 1 second and I get his friend over here. And here he is, the little friend. Now, what I have to say is, you can see they're exact same from the outside, but once you take off the helmets, they've got different faces. Now this is surprising to a lot of people because they've not done this in the past. Usually under these helmets, originally it was black and then it turned to just the same printed face under each trooper, which for clone troopers is okay because they are all the same person. You know, they're a clone of each other and of Jango Fett. But the problem was, stormtroopers are all different people. They've all been hired. Now, some of them actually are still clone troopers, but nobody's going to, like, give out about that. If we see one clone trooper head there, we'll be like, oh, cool. But for the most part, they are hired people, different people from all over the universe. It's really nice to actually see them going to this length and changing their faces. Now, they don't have back prints on the faces, but, I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, you know. We can just be thankful enough for this. I think it's one of my favourite parts of the whole set. It's a small part, and the set is massive, and it's great and all, but it's like, it's one of my favourite parts of the whole set, just because they actually went to the trouble of giving a little bit of, you know, canon to the whole situation. So that's all I can say about these two troopers, and I suppose now we can get on to the snowtroopers. Much of the same, the snowtroopers on the outside are the exact same as each other, and also the exact same as the ones from 2019 that are involved in the 4 Plus Snowspeeder. Thank God, because I got a few of them and I got one on Facebook, so altogether I can fill out the seats in the walker. Now, I did say earlier on that there was 6 seats. I was wrong, there's actually 5 seats inside the walker, apart from the cockpit. But we'll get to that later, again, during the review and all. He comes with a bigger gun than the AT-AT drivers and has a decent amount of printing on him as well. Like his leg printing there to imitate the fact he has a skirt on. Like they did used to put small cloth skirts on them. And I like that, but it's less posable. You can't really make them sit down as much and move their legs as much because it does kind of just put strain on the cloth material that they used. But yeah, I'll give you a look at the back. Decent amount of printing, as I said. Like, they have a little bit of a line there. You can see just above the belt, a little bit of a line there to represent the fabric that is the cloth underneath their armour. Again, it's these little things that really make it stand out from the last versions of the Snowtrooper. I think it's one of my favourites, but again, I don't like a few things about the fact that they've taken away the backpack and the fact that they've taken away the cloth. I'm not really a fan of, but I do understand. It is a lot better for playability for that kind of instance. And once again, as I said, they're the exact same on the outside, but get them together and take off the helmets, and they're different people again, and they're even different from the AT-AT pilots. If you want just to look at all of them together, I will give you that. But this kind of concludes my review of the minifigures, apart from the fact I'll just give you a little proof there that there is no back printing on those heads either. But that's not really much of a problem when they're going to this much trouble. Not this much trouble. I think we've seen all these prints on heads before, but we've not seen them used like this, which is just fantastic to see them working like that. No helmet day here on Hoth base. And yeah, as I said, they're all different. Even to each other, they're all different entirely. And I just think that's fantastic. So I suppose now we can get on to the review of the set. So, as per usual, I'm going to start off with the smaller sets and work my way up to the bigger. And I'm going to do display ability and then playability. So display ability for this, I think, is pretty decent. The pieces that they use in it are very nice. They use a lightsaber hilt there. They use the guns there. I mean, each piece, there's only 2 pieces or 3 pieces that are like typical pieces to have. You wouldn't really find these pieces or this piece or that piece. Or the black lightsaber hilt, this piece in the middle, you wouldn't find them an awful lot. And especially this piece holding them all together. You just wouldn't find them a lot, especially in Star Wars sets. Well, maybe not the lightsaber hilt in Star Wars sets, but the rest. I mean, one problem with display ability is you can't really have him holding on in a nice way. Like, it kind of gets a bit awkward if you want him to hold on to that, you know? It might like take it up a bit, but you can, if you want, put both of his hands up and put it either side of the turret like that, kind of. So it kind of looks like he's still manning it, but in a different way. I think for display ability, it'd be okay mixed in with a big scene, you know. But on its own, it's not much. But again, it's tiny. So what can I say about it? We can move swiftly on to the speeder. So, the AT-AT comes with a speeder bike, and for display ability, I think it's very nice. It is, because it's quite detailed compared to some of the other ones. I like some of the techniques that they used here. They used like kind of the DJ discs or the frying pans so that you can move these freely enough. Which I think is nice because it gives some nice kind of posability for the thing, which you kind of want on a speeder bike. It's supposed to be kind of rickety, you know. You can have someone standing on the back there if you want. There's a 2-stud plate in there, which is handy for taking out in the snow troopers. Sorry. You've got these, which I'm not sure is landing gear or is it like stirrups, like for the feet, like, or what's going on. But again, it is a very nice build. For display ability, I would rate it high enough, you know. But again, it is a smaller build. It would be better in a scene. I personally will be displaying it the way it shows on the box and just putting it into the AT-AT. Again, a very small part of the set. What can I say? Get on to the AT-AT for display ability. So, here it is, the AT-AT for display ability. I would rate it high enough, but after having it over a couple of days, weeks, it's been kind of sitting here, built. I will say that it's kind of shaky a little bit. You know, I've bumped into it once or twice from the back, and it's just completely crumbled. Like, these have bent, and it just landed face first. But I'm not sure how much it'll last. Like, I'll give you a few poses here in a second. We'll get on to the head first anyway. And from the neck to the head, you can twist it whatever way you want. You can have it looking that way or that way. But from the neck to the body, it's on this kind of like rubber thing at the back that kind of bounces it back into place. Which is kind of okay, you know, for if you're pretending to walk it or if you're playing with it. But like, I don't think a lot of people would be playing with it, especially for this part of the review, the display point of view. It is what it is. You can still use this part to make it look whichever way you want. This for display ability, I don't think this is how the AT-AT works. I think it's how some of the other things work, yes, but I don't think that's how it works. So you wouldn't really leave this open for display. But you could, because you can fill it, if you want to fill out the seats, that's perfectly fine. And you can, as I said, you can put this in here just so that it's nice and out of the way. We'll get onto these legs now. I'm going to pose them in a few different ways, and we'll show you what I'm talking about. This is one of the ways you can do it. It's one of the kind of more typical ways to do it. Did I bend that too much? No, see, that's only one bend and one click and one click and one click, but they still look different. You know, if it's like that, it can kind of, it seems like it's going to fall over this way a little bit more. Like it just seems very flimsy, and it has broken on me a couple of times. Once you lift it, the legs kind of all come in, which maybe is what you should be doing to display it. But like you're hitting against it, you can see the legs kind of separating there. And like they haven't gone to the click yet. Still haven't gone to the click. Yeah, there it goes. See, they kind of, with a little bit of hitting and pushing, it kind of does crumble. Here is another way I've seen people do it. And to be honest, I think one of the more accurate ways, because I don't think the legs actually do bend back like that. But you know, I could be wrong. I've seen 2 or 3 pictures, and I don't think the legs actually do bend in the way. But this is just one other way you can see it's being done. So here it is stepping on the snow speeder, which kind of works, you know. If you can kind of, you got to be careful with it, because one wrong leg and it all will just crumble. I've seen it hit the ground face first, like it would just, like, it's pitiful. It's like you feel sorry for the thing. You just feel bad. You're like, no, not my dog. But yeah, we'll give you a look from the other side now too. And here it is from the other side. I don't know, this kind of looks a bit dodgy. It kind of is a bit dodgy, to be honest, but you know, if you can work it in a way that you can get it to not fall, it might look pretty cool. But for displayability, I would say it's great if you just keep the legs straight, you know. I've had problems with it just for bending the legs. Like, I will say that it was over here in the corner, so like it was kind of in the splash zone. But just before we leave the display part of the review, I'm just going to show you what it looks like with the thing filled out. I mean, you can close that again if you want, just to see that. I'm going to show you a little 360 of it with it open. I don't think anybody will be displaying it with it open or like this, you know. It's just not something I think will happen. Give you a look at the back side there. I'll give you a look at the thing filled out with snowtroopers. It looks fairly well, I think, with it filled out, you know. This, I will say, is nice, but again, inaccurate, because he cuts a hole into it as opposed to opening a door. So I'm just going to close that and leave him hanging there with his thermal detonator, which I'll probably change out for the lightsaber after this video. And you can see there that all of them fit in there. It's a bit of a tight squeeze, but they do all fit in there. And this, it doesn't just open like the general kind of thing. It actually has 2 axes, so it kind of you know, opens nicely there in a nice kind of way. The head again we'll show you, and there is the 360 of it. Now I suppose we can get on to our playability side of things. So, on to the walker now for playability. As you can see, everybody has guns, weapons and attachments. Veers has his little binoculars there, so there's one point of playability. I will say, however, this guy, he does grab onto the turret pretty well. He sits on there pretty nicely. And to be honest, I'm going to do a different thing. I'm going to just do playability all in one. Now, this looks kind of, it looks the part. You know, it doesn't actually have any flick fire missiles or stud shooters or anything, but you know, you use your imagination as a kid, which is what you're supposed to do, and it all works out well for you. These guys, if they ever fall out of the cockpit, have their little guns there, and if, you know, Veers wants to like control it all from like a height, he can do that. The speeder looks nice. It looks well with the snowtrooper on it, and again, you can put someone on the back of it there. I will mention that he comes on a 2 stud tile there, which is really handy to see, because then his legs don't pop off like in the older ones. You can pretend that's a gun, or you can pretend it's whatever you want. It's pretend, you know. It's made for imagination. The actual ship, the actual walker itself is good for playability because it has two fake guns here, two fake guns here. They're all you can pretend to be firing them. I'll just give you a wee 360 of it because I haven't actually given you that yet. I haven't shown you the back. On the head though, there is two flick fire missiles. If you press on the sides, they will both fire out, and they go a fairly good distance, as all of the spring-loaded shooters do. I'll just give you a little 360 of it now because I actually haven't done that yet. And yeah, okay, so back onto the head. We've got up in the cockpit here, you can open up this. I wouldn't recommend opening up these because it's a bit stiffer, and that kind of, they don't open up an awful lot, the walls there, but they can. And you can see control panels there everywhere. One for Veers either side of his seat, which is this one here. 1 second now, and I get Veers in there. I will mention he doesn't stand up, so from a collector's or display point of view, it's not accurate that way. But thank God they actually fit in, because I've heard the older AT-ATs, which I don't possess at the moment, don't actually fit all of the people in there. Now this one does. It fits Veers in there, and it fits one of your little pilots, one of your little drivers in there. And you know what? I think it can even fit your other little driver in there as well. So you can have your whole little army in there. I don't have him to put into the tiles yet properly, but it will fit your whole army in there, all your drivers and Veers, and it will close up and look perfect. If you move up a little bit, you can see this, the head is kind of, you know, it moves on its own, and for a playability kind of sense, it looks good, you know, because if you're moving it a lot, which you will be, it's kind of how the head would move, really, you know. It's good, it's good. The way they've done it is nice. And if you open up this panel up here, I wouldn't recommend opening the side ones because they're kind of flimsy a little bit. You'll see a little cog here and that you can turn. And if you do turn this up and down, it controls this thing down here, this little zip line, and you can see it kind of dropping there and raising again just because of the turn. Now I will say, if Luke Skywalker or somebody isn't attached to it, be careful winding it up again, because it will go up into the AT-AT and you will try and have to fish it out. Opening up the doors here, you can see the backs of the two snow troopers that I have there. And you can fit 3 more this side. You can see beside the snow troopers there, if you'll just bear with me for a minute, and I turn it around, you can fit your turret into this little hole here, which is handy for storage. If you ever wanted to put it all away for, you know, bedtime, you have to put everything away and all that for playability. Or for collectors, if you just don't want these little bits floating around the place. And I will say, you can put him in there. You don't have to take him off at all. You can just slide the speeder on in there. I think I'm trying to put it in more than it goes. I think it's actually, yeah. And you don't have to take the snowtrooper off if you don't want to, which I think is handy because he's ready to go for battle. That is mainly the play features on it. Now I will say they're great play features, because I think for a lot of the older ones, they don't have anything back here to do. Then it's just empty space. And I know in the motorized walker, all of this on the inside is just motorized parts, which is, it's nice to see that they've actually filled that out a good bit. So for playability altogether, I will say that it's probably up there on an 8 for playability, but you're going to lose a point, maybe down to a 6 or a 7, because these legs here are very flimsy. Like I was saying, in the collectors, in the display point of view, they are actually flimsy. If you're hitting against it a lot, or if you're just doing general play with it, and it bends in the wrong way, it will fall and just face plant. Now, you might want that because you might have a house that you can find your Lego in very easily, and couches that are stuck to the ground and stuff where it's not going to lose bits of Lego, and you might want to just crumble it for whenever it does crumble in the movies. But again, it's just, I would actually say that it loses points for that. Now, just something I forgot to touch on there a little bit is whenever Luke Skywalker is going up his little zip line here. You can make him, you can pose him to look nice, and you can put the thermal detonator as well. It's all there, as you can see. But he also can cut open this little hatch, so he can throw his thermal detonator up in there, which is lovely to see because it's movie accurate. And again, I'm having to, as you can see, the leg is moving out of place and it's gone. So that's one thing I will say, be careful about whenever you're using this set, because it is something that has just driven me insane over the last while. Also, another flimsy part of it would be this part here. It doesn't show it now because I'm only after fixing it. This is normal. It's on little hooks at the back. But all of this here will be the first to go if it falls. And you'll be looking for it for ages. You'll be like, where does this part go? Where does this piece go? And it'll probably be from here, because it just does fall apart. Otherwise, I would say it's a great set. Like I'd say they could have improved on it a good bit, but they have again improved on it since the last models quite a fair bit. And I suppose that concludes my playability side of things. And I suppose that really concludes my playability review. So that concludes my review of the AT-AT Walker from 2020. I will say the displayability, I'm probably going to give an 8, because if you're not, hitting against it or anything like that, and if you just leave it alone, it should be fine. And it looks the part, it really does. It looks like one of the best AT walkers I've seen. For playability, it really depends on the age. I mean, for a younger kid, I'd give it like a 5, because it just falls apart too easily. But for an older kid, I'd give it maybe like a 7. It still wouldn't get that much, like it wouldn't get up to 10. But like I wouldn't give anything down to 3, because they're good. They're good sets. It comes with a nice array of figures. It's a great improvement. Looks like the nicest, little bit flimsy, good playability, great displayability. If you liked my video, please hit the like button. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. And if you have any comments, don't be afraid to leave them down below if I could have done anything better, or if I did anything just perfectly or anything, I don't know. Thanks a million, guys. We'll see you again. Take care.